All right, we'll go ahead and get started. You're welcome to come forward a little bit if you want. Apologize, we were originally going to do this meeting in front of the police department, but looks like the rain did not hold out as we planned today. So I want to welcome and thank you all for coming today. Our intention to have this press conference is to talk a bit about an initiative that we are launching in the city called Safer Jamestown Now, or Neighbors on Watch. One of the items that we have heard, and the rhetoric we've heard for the last at least year, has been an increase in crime, an increase in violence in our community, and that's simply not the case. So we wanted to take this opportunity to recognize happening. So over the last 3 years, Jamestown has made really critical investments into public safety, outreach, and focused on root causes of crime. These investments have combated a rise in crime and are working as we start to see a decrease in some of our violent crime rates. Some items of note for 2023, crimes against persons has decreased by 1.2%. Gun-related offenses have decreased by 45%, and confirmed shootings have decreased by 4 incidents. And something that I'm very proud of, a lot of organizations that are here helping us, domestic violence cases have decreased by 9% in 2023. But we as a city can and will do better. And focusing with Safer Jamestown Now, we are committed to community-focused policing, with residents and police working together to make our neighborhoods safer. By empowering our community and giving them the resources to do more, we can make Jamestown a safer place now. At this time, I'd like to invite Tim Jackson, our Chief of Police and our Director of Public Safety, who's going to talk a little bit about some of the achievements to date, so that the public can understand what we have done and where we are going in terms of public safety. So I'll invite the Chief up to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. So like the Mayor said, I'd like to provide some updates and changes that we've gone through as a police department and talk about some new initiatives we're taking to combat crime in Jamestown, as well as increase community engagement in the city. As many of you know, in January of 21, we created the position of Community Resource Officer to increase our community engagement and to keep the public informed. We also increased our community-directed and our beat patrols. In fact, last year was one of the highest year of beat patrols we have completed in the history of the police department. The beginning of this year, we brought back the Citizens Police Academy to allow the city residents and business owners a behind-the-scenes look at actually what goes on in police work. We had an excellent turnout for that as well. This year we were awarded $261,000 for our GIVE grant, 3 times the amount of previous year to fight violent crime, as well as increase our youth and community engagement. These funds will be used for more community-directed and targeted patrols in the area. In less than 2 weeks of this officer in this position, he has issued 38 violations and also made in-progress arrests and executed several warrants.
Very well done.
In June of this year, we created the position of Violence Interruption Officer to combat violent crime and to bring to justice those that commit acts of violence. In 1 week, these officers have made In 2022, The department sees the highest amount of narcotics and illegally possessed firearms. We've partnered with the FBI, DEA, and federal prosecutors to hold offenders accountable, and we will continue to use them, their resources, and everything that they can provide. There are several organizations that have helped the police department in various areas that I'd like to thank, including the Salvation Army, a new center, the Child Advocacy Program, the Mental Health Association, Chautauqua Opportunities, the FBI, the DEA, the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office, and the Chautauqua County District Attorney's Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you to our organizations that are joining us today. We very much appreciate those. We also have joining us Jamestown Public Schools, Joy Fellowship, and a few others that have done some incredible work in our community. One of the items that we would like to note, and I will talk about them briefly, but I do want to recognize the Human Rights Commission, which is joined behind me with Chair U.B. Stewart, who we'll be talking about, and they have been working to partner on a new initiative under our Safer Jamestown Now program. But what is the plan for Safer Jamestown Now? The first thing we want to make sure we do is we want to double down some of the efforts that we're already doing. And you've heard all of the achievements from Chief Jackson. But we want to empower our community by dedicating additional resources to create and revitalize our neighborhood watches. We have them existing and have existed for many years, but very few continue to pull up the mantle and join those watches. We want to make sure that our residents are not only protected by our police, but by our neighbors. That's the whole idea of community and neighborhood. We also want to work and partner with our faith-based organizations, our community groups, and Jamestown Public Schools to provide violence interruption programs in our community, mentoring and employment program for our kids, work that we've already started talking about. How do we engage the places where we see our kids at and help to prevent violence in the future? We also have worked very hard this year to secure additional funding, as the Chief mentioned, over 3 times the normal funding for gun violence intervention programs. And we're going to start to create a diversion program focused on our youth. And as I mentioned, the Human Rights Commission, we want to engage our Human Rights Commission to hold community meetings to help us develop a more responsive citywide programs that help us deal with public safety. I'm honored to have these folks behind me. They're going to go in the community, talk about the needs that we have in each neighborhood, and focus on what needs to be done, working hand in hand with our police department and our community agencies that are with us today. And lastly, and community support operations. And I'm happy to say that that position has already been funded by a grant going through City Council this month. So we are calling on our community to take back our neighborhoods. That's what this is about. Safer Jamestown Now, neighbors on watch. It is not enough for us just to rely on our police, but our police needs our neighbors as partners. And that is what we are calling on the community to do. Using our Human Rights Commission, using our partners, we're going to go into the community, talk to each neighborhood, see what they need, engage our neighborhood watches once again, and focus on our youth. So as they grow up in our city, may they never have to see the violence that we have seen in the last couple years. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank the Human Rights Commission, the members of council that have joined us today that are focused on providing a safer Jamestown now, which is making sure that all of our neighbors are on watch. So thank you all for joining, and we'll take any questions from the media.
Mayor?
Yeah.
So the police police chief mentioned the $261,000 from the GIVE program, and we received a press release from the governor's office saying that $682,000 was coming to Chautauqua and Jamestown. Is that number, the breakout, or is this more money in addition?
No, that's the portion that Jamestown gets, is
Okay.
the 261,000.
Thanks.
Is this modeled after a similar program elsewhere in New York?
Not in New York. We've looked at other cities, what they have done in terms of initiatives. But what we really did was looked at things we're already doing and how can we enhance that? How can we focus on bringing more community into the work that we do? So it's not necessarily modeled after another city, but we have looked at what other cities have done to create these initiatives. Any further questions? Okay. Thank you all very much for coming. We appreciate it. Hopefully you